Welcome once again to Let's Talk Marriage. This is Pastor Larry coming to you this Wednesday afternoon with Let's Talk Marriage. I hope everyone is doing well. If you woke up this morning, you are doing well. All right, we're going to get right on into our subject today. Our subject on today is simply family. The reason why I chose this subject is because this weekend this past weekend we had opportunity to visit relatives and go down south, travel down south on a road trip, which was a nice road trip. We had a really good time. This time, normally when you go down south, it's usually always for something tragic, but this time we went down for a joyous occasion. We went down to celebrate a surprise birthday party for uh, one of my wife's cousins, Amelia Walton, turned 60. We went down to give her a surprise birthday party, and it worked out beautifully. Everything was beautiful. We had such a good time seeing family and friends. We got an opportunity to visit our sister church down there. We had such a wonderful time with family and friends. And the reason why I want to talk about family is because a lot of times there's things that go on within the family. Some people are not getting along. Some folks are not getting. This is with any family, even the best families, even the best siblings. You're going to have a disagreement. The thing about it is to forgive and move on. Don't hold grudges. Life is too short. Sometimes we hold grudges for years and years and years. You have to learn how to forgive and move on. In the grudges, you don't want to, get old and you still have these grudges with your family. You haven't talked to them for years. You haven't spoken to them for years. That's kind of crazy. If people make some sense. She told me and I told her and I'm gonna tell her off. That's it's not even worth it. So make sure you stay close with your family. That's all you got is your family. It's everything. Your family is everything. So make sure you love on them and show them some love. And another thing I want to address is the young people, the children. Sometimes children they get mad at their parents. They don't want to talk to them anymore. You haven't spoken to your parents in years, and because you got a thing against them, or they weren't around when you were a kid. You know what? You have to let all that go. And if you can't really let it go, or you need some therapy, get some therapy for it. I know people always say, "Oh, Pastor Wilson, always talking about somebody therapy." Yeah, you get some therapy if you having a hard time forgiving somebody, or there's something that you can't move on from. Make sure that you get some therapy for that. Learn to forgive, especially if that person is asking for forgiveness. Learn to forgive, and when you forgive a person, please don't bring it up again. You remember that day you said, no. You have to learn how to let it go, and we like to hold grudges. And I had mentioned once before that we love to remember bad things. Good things you hardly ever hear people talk about that. That's why I wanted to make a point of mentioning what a good time we had this past weekend when we went traveling and we took the nice road trip, beautiful road trip. And we had such a good time, and that's why I wanted to stress what a good time we had, because people tend to remember bad things. Stop remembering bad things. Try to remember, harp on the good things. Harp on the good things. Don't hold grudges on things that happened in the past. Learn to move on. And again, if you can't move on for something, or you had a disagreement or something with someone in your family, make sure you make up with them, because life is so short. You here one day and you're gone the next. So we want to make sure that we stay close with our family, show some love with our family. We were down in we went to the house that I call it my grandmother lived in for so many years. We went there, and it was a strange feeling, but we still felt welcome when you walked in the door. You could still feel her loving presence in the household. And she was all about family. So I'm glad that we had the opportunity to go down and see everyone and love on everyone. We just had a good time. So make sure that you are doing the same thing with your family. Make sure you call that person that you haven't spoken to, that family member you haven't spoken to in a long time. Try to communicate, even if they don't try to communicate with them. Keep the lines of communication open. Every once in a while, drop them a text or something, say, hey, I love you. Even if they don't respond, they don't always have to respond, but you're planting that seed of forgiveness in them. And once you overcome that seed with forgiveness, uh, overcome that bad seed with good forgiveness, you can move on. And we need to learn to move on from things and just enjoy each other while we're here. Show some love. There's nothing wrong with showing love with your family members and stay a close knit family. I love seeing close knit families, and one of the things I always loved about my wife's family, they're very, very close people. They have a very close relationship with their family. And we I had that also. I actually also have that with my family members, my cousins, and all that. Because we went through so much as coming up in the city of Chicago. We went through a lot coming up as kids. We had good times, we had bad times, but I always like to remember the good times, and because most of the aunts are gone now. I have one left. The uncles are all gone. Of course, the grandparents, mother and father, they're all gone. But the cousins, whenever we get together, we always have a wonderful time. So it's always good to stay close and be close with your family. So stop holding grudges and looking what they used to say, looking for a fight. Stop looking. Yeah, when I see them, I'm gonna tell them off. No, when you see them, you ought to love on them, even though they might be still mad at you. But sometimes if you think about it, sometimes when these arguments you had for years and years, you had these arguments so long, you don't even remember what you were arguing about. You don't even remember what the fight was about. Somebody asks you, well, what you guys got? What did you get into it for? I don't know, but I can't stand her. Make some sense. That's crazy. Learn how to forgive each other and move on. That's the thing. You want to stay at that one little spot that I'm gonna be mad at her and can't nobody change it. Just shower them with some love. And everybody showed up down south, and we had such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. I want to thank each and every one that participated in it. I just enjoyed myself. And one of the things, my wife didn't have to do anything. Because usually she'd be like, I'm going to cook, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. No, she didn't have to do anything. So she got a chance to relax and enjoy herself and see family and see friends, some of her friends that she went to school with, she saw a lot of them. It's great, when you have that root, and for you people that are from down south, don't stop going down south. That's where most of us, especially as African Americans, that's where our roots are, from the South. So make sure you take a trip, take your kids there, and show them the places that you grew up at. Show them the town that you grew up in, and from how it changed until now, or what it's like now. Just show them where you came from. Because whenever I go to my wife's town, I was like, oh, I can't really believe you actually live down here. Because it's so quaint. It's such a quaint small town, and everybody know each other, and most of the people in the town are African Americans. But it's really nice. You have to take that trip. Take your kids, if your kids have never been to the South. You have relatives down there, plan a trip and go down and see them. And make sure you point out, especially your kids that are in school, make sure you point out the historical places, because there are so many historical places in the South. So make sure you take your kids there, give them a historical or educational tour. There's a lot of places that, we tend to say, oh, I don't want to remember that. I'm trying to forget about it. No, you don't want to forget about where you came from. So make sure you plan a trip sometime. Take your kids down south to see where you came from, the house you grew up, if it's still there, the neighborhood you came from, the high school. My kids got the chance to see where My wife went to high school, and where she was crowned high school LCHS, I think. Whatever. She was the queen of the school. Let's just put it that. They got a chance to see the school where she, where she went to school at. They saw the grade school. They saw the house that she lived in, the neighborhood that she came from, which is very educational. And we did see a lot of historical places down there. We got to see the town where B.B. King came from. We went to the Blues Museum. All this is in the South, and people think there's nothing down there. There's plenty to do down there. There's a lot of things to do down there, a lot of things to see. So take your family down, especially if your roots, your family, or your grandparents, or your grandmother, or your mother was from the South. I still haven't had the chance, and I want to take the opportunity one of these years to go to the hometown where my mother and father or grandfather was from. Where they came from, where their church started at. I also got a chance to see the church that my wife attended when she was coming up or growing up in the South. So make sure that we forgive each other and move on from arguments. Don't hold grudges with each other. Show some love with your family when you embrace them. I just love to see them when we go down, and the embraces that you get, and the big smiles, and you go and you see the people, and you just have such a wonderful time. And sometimes it's just a matter of just going there, sitting around talking about what's going on in the town, who's gone on, and who's moved on. A lot of times it's not necessarily someone that's passed on. A lot of times they've moved on, they've elevated or moved to a different area. They've been blessed to have a career. Some of them are doctors. There's a lot of doctors that came from the South, and it's just amazing to go to a town where it's predominantly black people, and a lot of them are professional people like doctors, lawyers, and even some that are in politics. So it's really wonderful. So take that trip. Take that time to take that trip to go back to the town where your roots started from, the South. Most of us, all of our grandparents, most of them came from the South. So make sure you go back to that town sometime. And again, back to forgiveness. If you have holding a grudge against a family member, call them, tell them you love them, tell them you don't even have to say I forgive you, because they're gonna start the whole thing off. Just tell them you love them, and just move on from there. This is Pastor Larry. I'm going to be signing off with Let's Talk Marriage until we meet again. I see you when I see you. This is Pastor Larry with Let's Talk Marriage.